You ever sit there after an argument and realize something's sick? You're the only one trying to fix it. You're explaining, you're calming it down, you're choosing your words. And they're just watching you do all the work. No apology, no ownership, not even a pause. They move on like nothing happened, and you're left holding the damage. Here's what you need to understand today. Some people don't avoid apologies because they forget. They avoid them because an apology feels like losing the war. This isn't about manners. It's about power. And if you've been told you're dramatic, sensitive, needy, or always making it a big deal, listen carefully. You're not any of that. You're reacting like a normal person reacts when accountability is missing. Because when someone won't apologize, it forces you into one of two roles. Either you swallow it, or you become the problem for bringing it up. That's why it messes with your head. The pain isn't just what happened. It's that they refuse to confirm reality. A real apology requires three things: vulnerability, admitting you can be wrong; self-confrontation, looking at what you did without flinching; repair, accepting that the relationship matters more than your ego. For some people, that combination triggers one thing: shame. Not guilt, shame. Guilt says, I did something wrong. Shame says, if I'm wrong, I'm nothing. So they don't apologize. They protect the identity. Type 1, the image warden. This person doesn't apologize because their entire identity is reputation. At work, they step on people quietly, then smile in meetings. In relationships, they hurt you, then act confused that you're still hurt. That's not what happened. You're overreacting. I didn't mean it like that. Translation: you don't get to feel it. They apologize only when there's an audience or consequences. Inner game. They learned early that being wrong meant humiliation. Outer game. They preserve the brand, because if they admit fault, the brand cracks. Type 2, the reality editor. This one doesn't just refuse apologies. They rewrite the event so you don't deserve one. I never said that. You're twisting my words. You always do this. So now I'm the bad guy? You bring up something specific, a comment, a broken promise, a disrespectful moment. 2 minutes later, you're defending your memory, your tone, your intentions, and the original issue is gone. That's not conflict. That's frame theft. Inner game. Their mind can't tolerate being at fault. Outer game. If reality is flexible, accountability never lands. Type 3, the punishment banker. This is the worst one. They withhold apologies on purpose, to train you. You don't get repair until you behave. You don't get warmth until you drop it. You don't get peace until you stop asking. Silent treatment. I'm sorry you feel that way. Making you earn basic decency. You end up apologizing just to end the tension. Inner game. Control equals safety. Outer game. A punishment economy. You pay with your dignity. They grant temporary calm. This pattern usually comes from a few environments. Mistakes were punished. If you were wrong, you were mocked, shamed, or abandoned. So the child learns, never admit fault. Parents never modeled repair, only blow-ups, no accountability. Love was conditional. Warmth came from performance. That's why some adults would rather lose relationships than lose face, because face kept them safe. When you confront them, shame hits like an alarm, and the body does what bodies do under threat: fight, flee, freeze. That's why you see it. Blank eyes, fake calm, sudden anger, leaving the room. They're not reasoning. They're escaping. And if you argue logic with someone in shame mode, you lose. Logic requires presence, and they're gone. Here's the part most people miss. The non-apology is a test. They're asking, will you adapt to my dysfunction? If you drop it, you trained them. If you apologize, you trained them harder. If you keep trying to help them understand, you trained them to weaponize confusion. And now you know why you're exhausted. You've been doing emotional labor for someone who benefits from refusing it. Quick warning before we go tactical. This isn't a diagnosis game. Don't label everyone. Don't turn this into a hobby. This is about one thing: stopping the pattern in your life. You don't need the perfect label. You need a better position. Here's what happens long term. First, you minimize. Then, you normalize. Then, you erode. You stop bringing things up. You start questioning your reality. You depend on the calm that comes from surrender. That's not love. That's conditioning. Tactic 1. Remove emotional data. Stop giving the full emotional speech. Say, that didn't work for me. I'm not okay with that. I'm not discussing it without accountability. Then stop. No explaining, because explanations are what they weaponize. Tactic 2. The mirror question. What part of that do you take responsibility for? Are you saying you did nothing wrong? So your position is, you're not accountable. If they explode, you didn't trigger them. You touched the truth. Tactic 3. Boundary without speech. Say the boundary once, then act. If this turns into blame shifting, I'm leaving. Then you leave. Boundaries aren't negotiations, they're behavior. Tactic 4. Time delay. I'll respond later, or nothing. This breaks the control loop where instant reaction equals dominance. Picture this. You're in the kitchen. They say something disrespectful. Again. Old you explains. New you pauses. You realize they understood the first time. They just don't want the cost. So you say, okay, I see what this is. And you walk away. That's not cold. That's clarity. Here's your 24-hour test. The next time someone hurts you and refuses accountability, say one sentence. I'm not moving forward without ownership. Then stop talking. Watch what happens. Because people who can't apologize aren't managing conflict. They're managing control. And here's the part you can't unlearn. If someone never apologizes, they're not protecting peace. They're protecting themselves. So the question isn't, why won't they say sorry? The question is, why are you still standing in front of someone who needs you to swallow damage so they can stay clean? Now that you can see it, you don't get to pretend you're blind anymore. If you stayed until the end, thank you. That tells me something about you. You didn't come here for comfort. You came for clarity. Today you learned why some people never apologize, how refusing accountability protects their identity, and how silence, boundaries, and positioning stop the pattern without begging, arguing, or bleeding emotionally. You don't stop feeding the system that protects them. That's the shift. This is the dark authority. We don't motivate. We don't soothe. We expose the hidden psychology behind power, control, behavior, and human dynamics, so you can stop reacting and start governing your life. If this helped you see something clearly, like the video, subscribe to the channel, and stay with us. More episodes are coming, each one designed to give you leverage, clarity, and calm where chaos used to live. You're not too sensitive. You're not imagining it. You're learning how power actually works. And now, you move differently.